Hey there everyone, welcome back to the TripleConnect channel. My name is Damien, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the different ways in which you can travel for very cheap whilst you're on your year abroad. So let's get into it. Now, I am not from New York and I am not a pretty girl, but as TikTok is telling me, I'll be drinking some Diet Coke.
Diet Coke, baby, New York City. Never was there ever a girl so pretty.
So let's open it and let's hope that it will not get all over me. That literally echoed all around my room. Now, the first thing you have to know about traveling abroad is the fact that you have to be very flexible. And being on your year abroad, especially if you're studying at a university, is going to be kind of easy to do, in a way at least. So when you are studying at a university for your placement abroad, you will find out that skipping some lessons is more forgivable. I mean, obviously I'm not advocating for you to skip your lessons or to not go to your classes at all, but it is more forgivable to skip those lessons, and usually it's a little bit easier to kind of catch up with everything. And you know, at least that was my situation. That was kind of how I looked at it. So what you need to do is you have to remember that you'll find a lot of flights every day. You'll find out that maybe it's kind of not worth it going there at the specific day that you want to, or that you were planning to go to, if that makes sense. Essentially, what I mean is that you need to be flexible with your times. Do not make up your mind about a certain place you want to go to at a certain moment. Instead, go on sites such as Skyscanner, such as Kayak even, and just try to literally type in the airport nearest to you and pick different dates. So the way I did it is I thought, okay, 3 weeks from now I want to go somewhere abroad. I want to catch a flight, but I did not make up my mind about like going to a certain place that I really wanted to. So I wouldn't say like, oh, I want to go to Lisbon this week, or I want to travel next month to Hungary, which is where I am right now. What I did was I was patient and I ensured to just go on Skyscanner, pick a certain date that I want to travel. So for example, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, and then I would pick one of the cheapest flights. And from the places that I saw on the list as listed as the cheapest ones, these will be the ones that I will be considering. So you will see an excerpt when I'll be editing. I'll just put it right here so you can have a look on Skyscanner to figure out and kind of visualize what I'm talking about. In addition to Skyscanner, you will also find that when you will be booking your ticket, you will be going through different providers or different companies that offer the tickets. So my understanding is that they kind of buy the tickets when they're released at first, and then they will be reselling them. It's kind of like the same thing with like Ticketmaster when you're going for, you know, a concert. So many people will just like buy them tickets in bulk and then they'll be reselling them. Okay, so just before I get into eDreams, which is one of those companies that I was talking about, let me just give you a slight visualization of what I meant when it came to using Skyscanner to travel for very cheap. So let's say that I want to travel from Valencia and I want to go to Prague. Anyways, and let's say that I am, you know, wanting to travel on the 13th of October until the 16th of October. So as you can see already, it's probably not a great example that I've chosen or maybe it is a good example, because you can see how expensive those prices can be for a direct flight to Prague, for example. The cheapest one is a connection flight, which doesn't really, you know, make it any better. Sure, we can travel for cheaper, but who wants to take a 5-hour and a 7-hour flight respectively with a stop in between? So, as I was explaining before, it's best not to make up your mind about the place that you want to travel to. Instead, what we can do is, I'll just go back, and instead of putting the city that I want to go to, you will have this little blue box here that says can decide where. Click here to search everywhere. And this is something that I was doing every single time that I traveled. So I've already picked my 13th of October flight until the 16th of October. And here you will get a whole list of different places you can travel to. You can have Spain, you've got France, you've got Italy, Montenegro, Austria, Portugal, Bulgaria. So for instance, I see that I can travel to Bordeaux or to Paris for very cheap. So Bordeaux 24 quid, Paris 36 quid. For the sake of the video, let's just go with the one for 24 quid to Bordeaux. And as you can see here, if it's going to load, here are the times of those flights. Let's see that I want to select this flight. And here you have the different providers down below that you can book this ticket with. So you've got trip.com for 20 quid, which is even cheaper. You can get it directly from Ryanair for 24 quid, but why would you if you can have it for 4 quid cheaper? So this is kind of what I was doing the whole time, and I get a return trip for 20 quid. So yeah. One of those companies is eDreams. Essentially what eDream is another reselling company. And with eDreams, when you sign up, you can sign up for a free 30-day trial. And with this free trial, get additional discount on all of your tickets. And this is something that you definitely want to look into. Another thing that you have to remember is that in order to minimize the cost of your travel, you should never take a carry-on luggage with you. You need to be very smart about the way that you pack your bags. And the only bags you should bring with yourself are just like your backpack. You literally just hand in luggage, you don't put it in, you don't check it in, you literally just have your backpack with you or whatever bag you have with you and pack very light. And in that way, you will be saving 23 odd quid. I thought somebody was falling down, falling out of a window rather, so that's interesting. Oh my god, I literally thought somebody was screaming right now. Anyways, going back to what I was saying. So now that you know that you have to pack light, you know what sites to use to find, you know your tickets and whatnot, you have to find your accommodation. Now, you probably heard of Trivago, who hasn't at this point, but out of all the sites that I've ever tried, Trivago was always the best one. Because essentially, Trivago will show you all the different companies, all the different sites that have the place for the hotel that you're interested in. So, you know, instead of just going on booking.com or kiwi.com or whatever, literally just go on Trivago and those companies will be listed. And at the very top, you find a company that is the cheapest or holds the cheapest offer at the moment. Now, you may also want to look at Airbnb. With Airbnbs, you have to remember that you will most likely than not be able to use a kitchen. You'll have your own kitchen if you get a studio or something like that, you know, or maybe you may want to go to a place that somebody rents out just a single room in the house and then you'll be able to use the kitchen. I personally never did that. Only because I like to have my own space. I don't really like to share with other people when I'm in a place abroad that I don't really know anyone, in, because it just makes me more comfortable. With that being said, even if the Airbnb can be slightly more expensive, you will have the access to your kitchen, so you'll be able to cook, prepare some meals, so then you save some money on eating out, and actually you'll probably be better off if you have your own kitchen to just kind of prepare your own food and just take it with you maybe, or if you're in a very central area of the place that you're in currently, then you'll be able to just kind of go back home for a few minutes and then go back exploring again, and you'll be saving a lot of money. So that's something always you can look into. Now, this is not necessarily a thing that will save you much money, but it's kind of like will save you your energy. And the one thing that I at the beginning was doing was looking at a place and literally having a huge list of everywhere where I wanted to go. No matter what that place was, no matter how many places I had a huge list, and I was like, I want to go there, blah blah blah. And I was so exhausted at the end of the day. I was visiting things or places that I didn't really care that much about. So after a while of, you know, having that realization, I've realized that it's more worthwhile to just pick certain attractions that you definitely want to go to. So like, no matter what, you have to go there whilst you're there on your abroad. So essentially what I'm saying, just, you know, have your list ready of 5-10 attractions that you want to visit or places you want to go to, like 100%, and then have another list of places that you could go to if the time permits. And in that way, I managed to be extremely less tired. I managed to spend more time in the attractions that I actually wanted to really go there for whatever, and it was just more productive. You know, I was happier, I was more relaxed, I had more energy at the end of the day. So, you know, that was really worth it. So I think that's something that you definitely should look into when trying to save some time and energy. The next thing is something that's very simple, and you'll be like, okay, yeah, I know I have to do that to save money. But hear me out. Only ever use public transport. And that applies both whilst you're in a place that you're visiting and also on the way to the airport and from the airport. Now, when you'll be booking your flights, make sure that the public transport is available for the time that you're booking your flight. You know, there were many times where I booked a flight for very early in the morning or very late at night, and I was not able to get a bus or a train or a metro to the airport just because it just wasn't available. It was just too late, it was just too early, so I wasn't able to do it. And because of that, I had to get taxis. And you know, taxis can be overpriced. You're just like spending that additional money, especially when you book a flight and for both your departure and arrival, you have to catch a taxi because the times are just not working with the public transport. You're losing a lot of money. So usually you will be able to find different flights. If a different flight is just like 10-15 pounds more or whatever, maybe it's more worthwhile to just pay that additional price if the flight is slightly later or slightly earlier, so that you don't have to get a taxi and, you know, spend more money on the ticket, but then you actually spend a lot less money because you're using public transport to get to the airport rather than a taxi. So yeah. So another thing that will save you a lot of money is actually something that you already have, and that is the student ID. All over the place in Europe, when you have your student ID, you'll get discounts no matter what in different museums, different art galleries, things like that.
Like things like that.
Some countries will even allow you to get daily tickets that when you have your student ID with you, you will be able to get it for a lower fare. So definitely look into it. You know, just simple, just don't forget to take it with you. And now, talking about cards, always remember to have your GHIC with you. This can save you money in terms of an emergency where you need medical attention. So yeah, you never know when you will have to use medical attention, and with your GHIC, it just kind of ensures that you will not have to spend more money than a citizen living in that country. You'll basically be paying the same fee, and if that fee is nothing, then you obviously pay nothing as well. Now, the last thing is not about really saving money. It's just kind of like, it's something that you should take into consideration when traveling, and that is to just learn a few words. You're most likely than not going to be not scammed when you're abroad, but you know, just even knowing a few words, even just saying like, no, thank you, like if somebody is trying to bother you or like sell you something, you can always just like reply in that link. I want to say language, what the hell, where am I from? Anyways. So, you know, just memorize a few different words in the foreign language. If you're in Germany, maybe, you know, knowing more than like English is my Lieblingssprache or whatever, I don't know, I don't speak that language.
Englisch ist mein Lieblingsfach, Lieblingsfach, Lieblingsfach. Was ist dein Lieblingsfach? Englisch oder was?
it will help you a lot, you know, even just say like, no, thank you, please, like, I'm rushing, I'm in a rush. If somebody's trying to sell you like a magazine, some magnets, whatever, it's just one way to get rid of that additional stress, or just kind of like get rid of the annoying people that will just kind of like bother you and try to sell you something. And then you don't want to feel, you know, like a bad person by not buying it. It's just an easier way. So it's not directly going to save you any money, but it's something that, you know, it's out there and it's of value in a certain way. So definitely learn a few words in a language of the country that you're visiting. So yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about TripleConnect. I'm going to be very quick, but this is kind of like an announcement of some new things that we'll be doing in the next few days, and that's opening our doors to university students and international students that are wishing to go to the UK to study. So essentially what we're doing is, as you probably know, we already have a place for AS and A-level students on our Discord, where we're able to provide free mentoring, free CV checks, free personal statement checks, one-to-one, giving you any sort of advice, answering different questions you have about the universities that you're considering going into, all of that stuff. But now we'll also be doing it on a bigger scale, where we'll be including a lot of more students, and essentially you're able to connect with more people. And if that's something that you wish to do, then that's definitely something that I recommend. So please check it out. And maybe just to kind of end of the whole video, go leave a comment down below if there's any place that you want to go to. And hopefully you're not BB Rexa and you do not want to go to Paris. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and yeah, thank you so much. See you later.